So how important do you think it is to use vocal tuning in a live stream mix?
Do it. Just do it.
We don't all have perfect pitch. I mean, what are you saying, man?
I'm confident that no one in the world has literal perfect pitch as far as singing is concerned, because that's not how the human voice works. But especially in churches, I mean, there is a stigma to it. But here's the thing: you don't have professional singers in your church, and if you do have like paid professional singers in your church, you might not be listening to this because you also have a team of professional sound engineers. So, you might think it's like cheating or something, but honestly, you're doing your singers a favor because you're not saying they're bad singers. What you're saying is that live streams are terrible for sound, which they are, because if you're playing live, you're singing live, lots of stuff covers up the inconsistencies in a vocal. Like you're not going to hear all the bad bits because there's so much going on with the room and the reverb and the people singing, all the instruments bouncing everywhere. Not going to hear all those mistakes. If you're in a recording studio, you're not going to have those mistakes because you're going to record it 12 times and then cut up the best bits and then use a bunch of effects on it and all that. A live stream is the worst of both of those. So you can hear everything because it's recorded, but it's live. So there's no redos, there's no takes, people can't even hear themselves on stage maybe. So you're literally getting the worst of both worlds as far as singing is concerned. And in general, your singers will sound the worst on a live stream than they will in any other situation. So by using tuning, you're not saying they're bad. You're saying you're good. And this live stream makes you sound bad because that's just the nature of it. So use tuning to help your poor singers out and yourself if you're the singer, because live streams are very mean to vocals, very mean to vocals.
It's true. I wonder how many vocals never listen to the live stream replay because they're like, I don't myself.
Because one of the churches I do, they don't have a ability to do tuning on theirs, and I don't even listen to it. I'm like, this is I can't sound. I hope I don't sound like that. That's terrible.
I sounded great in the room.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. So what vocal tuning plugin do you use?
This video is brought to you by X32 Mastery, the fastest way to master both the X32 and the M32. Get access today for you and your team at x32.church.
For live situations, for recording, I use Melodyne, but you can't use that for live because that's cut and paste kind of thing. I think probably the best is still autotune and Terry's autotune, but Waves Tune is fine. And I don't think in a live stream situation that you're going to notice that much of a difference between like and Terry's, which is like $300, and Waves Tune, which is usually like $50 or something. So I would go with Wave Tunes unless you got a huge budget and you're like, your very professional mix on your live stream, then maybe Antares might be worth the extra money. But yeah, Waves Tune is fine. I think that's probably what most people use too.
Awesome. What are the settings we need to be paying attention to on that tuning plugin?
All these tuning plugins have so much different settings. Like it's not like compressing and reverb where it's all pretty standard. Yeah, I was looking at Antares and I don't know what they name their things. There's like humanization and pitch modulate, like all and then this other one has a completely different terms, like they're all different. And whatever yours is called, in general, you want to pay attention to the key that's set, the speed of how it comes in, and possibly the range if it has that. So for key, usually you can select a key. I would not select a key. I would leave it on chromatic, because most songs will have, they won't always have accidentals, but they might have like an in-between note that is technically an accidental, and you don't want to get rid of that by setting the key, So I would go with chromatic. That way it just goes to the nearest whatever note. And then you want a pretty high time on it so that it's not T-pained, because what T-pain is they crank the time to like 0 and they crank the correction to 100 and they select a key like D, and then it immediately puts those notes in that key, and that's why you get a robot. So leave chromatic and then put the time up so that it takes just a bit to correct the note so it doesn't sound like a robot. That'll help it kind of blend in and not sound fake. And then if it has a correction knob, that one you kind of just have to go as high as you can without it sounding unnatural, and that's what you want for the amount of correction. So I assume you're going for natural correction. If you're going for T-pain worship, then do whatever you want. But for natural, like vocal correction, you want a pretty high time. I don't know, like 80, 100 milliseconds in that area probably. And then correction as high as you can get it before it sounds unnatural.
Good. Awesome. It seems complicated, but it actually sounds really simple when you explain it. So good job, man.
Thank you.